Okay, hello ladies and gentlemen. I want to go over a couple things. I think you should have had these written down already about what a prism is, and I'm going to kind of make it a little bit more real for you, showing you various shapes that are a three-dimensional prism. So a prism is it's a three-dimensional figure with two identical and parallel bases. Okay, so we're going to make sure you understand what the base looks like, and what the perimeter is, and then we're going to go through some problems. So I'm going to flip it up here, and hopefully you can see me with a couple of these figures. Okay, so we are going to look at a couple of these figures, and I think you can see them pretty well here. So what I have here is this is a rectangular prism, and what you want to look at is what is the base. Well, is the two sides that are parallel to each other, which if you look at this, there are a whole bunch of them, but the main ones we're going to call are these two, and this one happens to be a square. So these are our two bases that are parallel to each other. As I said, you could do this two or these two. It doesn't really matter. But we're going to call these two. So we're going to find two things on this today, or a couple things. We're going to find the perimeter of this one. We're also going to find the area of it. And then we're going to find what's known as the surface area. And the surface area is the sum of the area of this one, and this one, and this one, and all six of these faces, because there are six faces on here. Okay? All right. The next one, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So the next figure I'm going to show you is this is another prism. But I want you to look at which are the two bases that are parallel to each other. And if you look at it, they're the triangles. So this is known actually as a triangular prism. So we would set it this way on its base. Okay. So what we would go find, well, if you look at it, how many faces are there? Is I have one on the bottom, same one on the top, and then I have three others, 1, 2, 3, for a total of 5 faces. Okay. So we would go find the perimeter on this one, which is on the base. We'd also go find the area of a base. We know how to find the area of a triangle. It's the base times the height. And then we'd also have to find the height of this. If we could find those three things, we'd be able to compute the surface area of all the sides. Okay? Another one, so here's another one. You could use any of these. The way it's indicated on here is the green one. These would be your base. So you have a square base again. Okay, so we've done the triangular, we've done what's known as a rectangular prism. Last one I want to do is a cylinder. Found a couple examples. A coffee cup is anything that kind of holds water. A glass can be, but we're really going to look at ones that they don't change shape necessarily. We're going to keep them pretty uniform. And for example, and what this really is this is a cylinder. And that's where the two bases that are parallel to each other are circles. So what we would go and find is, and this is just a salt shaker, we would need to go find the perimeter of this, which we just got done knowing is the circumference. And then we'd have to find the area of this, which we know how to find the area of a circle, it's pi r squared. And then we'd have to find the height. And if we can find all of those, we're going to be able to find the surface area of even a shape like this. Okay, so that's kind of where we're going with this. I kind of wanted to give you a preview of it. I'm going to do the squares, or the rectangular prisms, and the triangular prisms first on this video, and then I'm going to come back and do the ones with the cylinders on the next one. Okay, second one will actually be much quicker than the first. Okay, so I'm going to flip this around so we can look at it this way, and I'm going to zoom back into this. So this is on page 1. So we're going to find a couple things here, and the first one we're going to need to find is, well, let's find the base. And my base is that bottom one, so I'm going to redraw that. And that base is 12 by 10. And we also want to identify the height here. And so the other dimension I have not used is the height is also 12. Okay? So we're going to go find what is the perimeter of this base. Well, I'm going to add all those lengths up, and so that's going to be 12 plus 12 plus 10 plus 10, which is 44, and since that's perimeter, it's going to be yards. Okay? All right. B is our base. So we got to go find the area of our base. Well, that's pretty simple. How many times have we done that? Many times. So that's going to be 12 times 10, which is 120. And since it's an area, it's yards squared. Okay, the tricky part is going to be the surface area. And what we're going to do is, if I know the perimeter, okay, of my base, and I multiply it times the height, that'll take care of all the sides. So if I know my perimeter, and I multiply it times the height, that's all the sides. So I'm going to do the perimeter times the height, and that'll give me all the sides. Okay, that gives me my sides, and that will hold true for all the shapes we're doing together. It's the perimeter times the height. And then, don't we have the top and the bottom? Well, wasn't that our base? Now, how many bases do I have? I have 2 of them. So really, for all these, I'm going to do the perimeter, and this will be my top and bottom. So we'll do that for all of them. Okay? So we already found our perimeter from above was what? 44. And our height we determined was 12, so that's finally where that comes in, 2. Plus, now we got to do 2 times our area of our base. Well, what did we find that to be? 120. Okay? So I'm now going to go type that in, and that's going to give me my surface area of everything. So, okay, I know I'm low. So it's 44 times 12 plus 2 times 120. And my surface area is 768. And that would be yards squared. Okay? So what did we do? We found the perimeter. We found the base. We know the surface area is the perimeter times the height plus 2 bases. Okay? So we're going to do the same thing here. Once you look at this, what side is it sitting on, or would be its base? Well, it's the one that's parallel to each other. So I could pick any one of them. I'm going to choose the one that it's sitting on, which is 8 by 12. So it's 8 by 12. So if that's 8 by 12, what's its height? Our height is the one that's coming up, so our height is 6. So I won't use that until I'm actually doing my surface area. Okay? So if I look at this one, now let's go find our perimeter. Well, how do we find the perimeter of our base? We're going to add all those up. Well, this is 20 plus 20. So if I do 8 plus 8 plus 12 is 20 plus 20 would give me 40 meters. Okay? Let's go find the area of our base. Well, that's pretty simple. My picture's right here. It's just 8 times 12, and if you do that on your calculator, you're going to get 96 meters squared. Okay? So surface area we found before was what? It's our perimeter times our height plus 2 bases. All right. So what was our perimeter? Found that before, it was 40. What was our height? Oh, we set that right here. That's where it comes into play. 6 plus 2 times our base. So what did we find the base to be? Was 96. Okay. This I know is 240 because 4 times 6 is 24. Add a 0 is 240. Plus, if I multiply those two together, I believe I'm going to get 192. Okay, and 240 plus 192 is going to give me 432, and that's going to be meters squared. Okay? So again, I found my base. Now this one, it didn't matter which one was the base, but on the next one, it really matters which one is our base. Because which is the side that has 2 of them that are parallel to each other is actually the one in the front and the back, which is a triangle. Okay? And I'm going to rewrite those dimensions on here. This is 10, this is 6, this is 8, and I can draw it really well, but there's our right angle. Okay? And what is the dimension? And how far apart are those 2? Is 5, so our height's 5. So it's really, the height is how far apart are the 2 parallel ones. So here they were, what? 12 apart. Here our base and this base were 6 apart. Here the triangle and the other triangle are 5 units apart. Okay, so now we're just going to look here and find our perimeter. Well, I'm going to have to do 10 plus 6 plus 10, or plus 8, I'm sorry. That's 14. 10 is 24. 4, and that would be inches. Okay, our base is our area. Well, the nice thing is I have a right angle here. And if you remember in a triangle, it's 1/2 the base times the height of the two that are parallel to each other. So it's 1/2 of 8 times 6. Half of 8 is 4 times 6 is also 24 inches. And that'll be squared though. All right, so our surface area is still the perimeter, which was our triangle, times its height will give me all 3 sides this time. Plus, I now have my 2 bases again. So what did we find our perimeter to be? Was 24. And what was our height? Found our height was 5. Plus 2, and what was the area of our base? Was 24. So let's go multiply this out. Well, 24 times 5 is 120. Plus 2 times 24 is 48. So if I add those together, I get 168, and that would be inches squared. Okay, so on the triangular prism, remember, we're looking for the 2 sides that are the 2 triangles, because they're the ones that are parallel to each other. Okay, so on note, we got one more triangle on the next page. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one. So this one's a little bit easier to see because if you look at it, the 2 sides are going to be, or the 2 triangles are actually a little bit easier to see. Okay? So if you look at this, so it is a triangular prism because those are the only 2 sides that are parallel to each other. Nice thing is it gave us the height here. Okay, so let's redraw that. It's a lot easier to see on this one. So this is 9 here. It's 7.8 here. This is 9. And since this is 9, that one's 9. So it's an equilateral triangle. Okay? So let's go, and then how far are the 2 triangles apart from each other? Is 12. So what does that mean that is? That's our height. So how far the 2 parallel ones are apart from each other. Parallel bases. All right, so let's go find our perimeter of our base. Well, that's 9 times, or 3 of them, is 27 centimeters. Okay. The area of our base is, remember, it's a triangle, so I have to take the 2 that are at a right angle to each other, so that's the 7.8 and the 9, but it's 1/2 of our base, which is 9, base of the triangle, times 7.8. It's going to be 0.5 times 9 times 7.8, and I get 35.1 centimeters. Okay, so let's go find our surface area, and it's still going to be the perimeter times the height, plus how many of the bases? 2 of them. So what was our perimeter? It was 27. Okay, we computed our height was 18. Plus, I have 2 of the 35.1s. So by the way, this is a key one, isn't it? All right, so let's go type that in. I'm going to do, wait a minute. Oh, my height's not 18, it's 12. Wow, it's 12. Good catch. Must have been the voice in my head. Okay, 27 times 12 plus 2 times 35.1. And I get my surface area was 394.1. I believe that's what it said. Yep, before it went dead. It's 394.1, and that would be centimeters. Okay? So if you want to go work on the rest of those, there are a few triangles that are assigned. Sub will certainly let you know which ones they are. So you can work on those and then come back and watch the second video, or you can watch this one also. But I'm going to cut this one off.